When I told Chris we were watching something with talking pigs, he thought we were watching Cops.
Oh, damn.
Didn't cut the credits.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for
Welcome back, everybody. I'm your co-host, Josh.
And I'm your other co-host, Chris.
So, no, Chris, we're not watching Cops. We are watching the 1995 kids movie, Babe.
Aw, babe. I
Yeah,
haven't watched that movie in a while.
same. Since I was a kid.
All these 90s movies we haven't seen since we were kids.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia wave is coming back. Yeah, I've not seen this since I was a kid. I definitely remember it,
Yeah.
but I don't remember a lot of it. The only thing I really remember is the singing mice for some reason. That's all I really remembered about this movie.
For all the chapters and throughout the movie.
Yeah, I just remember the singing mice. I remember the end a little bit where they do the little competition.
Right.
And of course, there's the iconic line, which we'll talk about later. But there's a reason why I did pick this movie. I think I had talked about this maybe once before on the show, maybe a few episodes back. I got this book for Christmas. It's called Everyone's a Critic, so I'll just kind of go back over it. It's a challenge book. Every week you get a new challenge. For this week, the challenge was a movie starring animals. For some reason, I misread it as a movie with talking animals, and the first thing that popped in my head was Babe. But it still works anyways, starring animals. And what's funny is that in every, I know it's hard to see, but in every challenge at the bottom, they give you a little trivia for like a movie that relates to that challenge. And this one was Babe, and I didn't even read that until I was done writing it. So it was funny that like, oh yeah,
coincidence.
It's the twice. So this is number 4 of the challenges. It's twice that I picked a movie that had the same movie listed in the little trivia thing. The other one was Rocky, and I had watched Rocky for this challenge.
Right.
So I guess I'm either thinking of just the most typical for that one, or
Most
I'm
likely, yeah.
But anyways, I thought it'd be fun throughout the episode that I filled this out. I thought it'd be fun for maybe me to give you some of these questions, and maybe you can kind of give me some answers.
Okay.
There are some interesting questions. I'll give you one right now. So, best line or memorable quote? What would you put for that? What would you think? My answer's a little different because there is one very memorable quote from this movie.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
I did not go with that. I went with a different one because this one made me laugh. I actually really like this. The one that I wrote was, "Christmas means carnage. Christmas means carnage." The duck. Yeah, the duck was funny, man.
Yeah.
But this movie is a different kind of kids movie. This movie was a very well acclaimed kids movie that was nominated for a lot of Oscars in its time. I don't know if you knew this, but this was like nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, wow.
Best, a lot, and he actually won one Oscar for best visual effects, which I think this movie was kind of groundbreaking for like talking animals and the way that they did that.
I know as a kid, I thought that was like the most amazing thing, talking animals. And once you watch it as an adult, like I can see the animatronics so clearly.
I don't think it was all animatronics. I think there was digital, like almost like CGI going on certain scenes. Well, this movie has a very big mix of effects.
Right. But I know like all the when the animals are like still and they're not moving, or they are, but they're just moving their heads. I know that's the creatures just moving them. And I know I would only see the CGI for when their mouths are opening up and down all the time.
Yeah.
But I like that. It was also Jim Henson's creature.
I was just about to say you probably noticed a recognizable name in the credits in the beginning, and Jim Henson, which I did not know that. As a kid, I knew who Jim Henson was, but I probably just didn't pay attention to the credits. But
right, yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Like this movie had a lot going for it. Do you know who co-wrote this movie, by the way?
No.
This is going to be a very funny and odd connection. So the guy that co-wrote this movie, who actually went on to direct the sequel, Babe, Pig in the City, George Miller.
The hell?
Well, what is he most famous for?
Mad Max.
Exactly. And he co-wrote this movie.
That is so odd.
Very interesting filmography, from all the Mad Max to Babe to another kids movie called Happy Feet that he did. It's a very, very interesting filmography, is all I'm going to
He did
say.
Happy Feet?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
he was also Happy Feet. Audience, fact check me if that's wrong, but yeah, he did Happy Feet as
Never
well.
thought that. Wow. See, I
Yeah.
barely remember Pig in the City.
I've never seen it, actually. I've never seen the sequel to this. Maybe I did as a kid. I just didn't remember it, but I really don't think I've seen it.
It's not as memorable as the first one.
I was talking to my buddy last night. We were doing kind of a game night, and I told him I watched Babe, and he's like, "Have you seen the sequel?" And he said the sequel is like a fever dream kind of movie because there's like a lot of wild stuff going on. Apparently,
weird.
Okay.
The only way I can like put it is as if it's Dumbo when he's drunk.
Okay.
In the city.
All right. Interesting. We're going to put that on the movie poster, Babe, Pig in the City, Chris. Dumbo when he's drunk in the city, Chris Kalina.
Yeah, it's like that and mixed with the Stuart Little thing. It's weird.
For Babe, this movie's rated G, which for the most part makes sense. But man, there's some darkness in this movie. It's very sad. Yeah. Because obviously you're dealing with animals and
and what their function is.
Right, because the whole idea of this movie, it's about this pig who is just finding his place in this world.
Right.
That's really what it is. And he has his certain place that people tell him this is where you belong. And of course, the movie is about kind of overcoming these obstacles, and you can do more than just what you're supposed to be. And I think that's kind of the message. But there is this whole social dynamic about this farm where it's the dogs are kind of like the kings. They're the ones that like rule this thing. You know, there's Rex who kind of like he's the boss.
Leader.
He like because he's like the main. You know, he's always with the farmer. You know, he goes in the car with them. He goes everywhere with them.
And also, he even mentions it. Rex, that he's like one of those purebred sheepdogs from they have a whole lineage behind him, kind of thing. So he's a big deal. So is Fly.
Yeah, so we see this kind of social dynamic and where everybody belongs, kind of like Lion King. You're wearing the shirt right there. You know, the lions kind of control everything, and then there's everybody else below that. So it's the kind of the chain of command. And then that's where Babe comes in, and just the voice. Oh my goodness, it's so adorable.
Why, Mom?
You feel so bad for this poor pig when you see his mom getting taken away from him, and you see the little tear. And man, as a kid, I'm sure I cried because I was the type of kid that would cry for stuff like that, especially with like animals. But even as an adult, rewatching this, I was tearing up at that kind of stuff.
It's that scene and the scene where Fly sees her children.
Yeah,
all her puppies go away. I was like,
no. It's so sad. It's almost just like this is the nature of how this works, but you can't help it.
And like what you were saying before about dark moments, it's still a farm. So you see the farmer go after the duck,
which wasn't Ferdinand. Which at first I thought it was him. I was like, damn, they killed Ferdinand, the duck.
You would think that, because he was hiding in the like little slaughter room. Like, oh, it's Ferdinand. And he shows up and he's like, what's going on?
Very good voice acting in this movie. And actually, there were some voices that I thought I recognized that it turns out weren't who I thought it was. And I'll kind of go into that. So it sounds like you are kind of in the same boat. Well, let's start with one. So the narrator.
This is a tale about an unprejudiced heart.
I swear, when I was hearing the voice of the narrator, I thought it was Michael Gambon, a.k.a. Dumbledore from Harry Potter.
Let them swim in the deepest ocean or glide over the highest cloud.
I could not place who it was. I just couldn't.
It turned out to be just nobody I recognized. First off, this movie is a very Australian movie. There's a lot of Australian actors in it.
I got something to do with that too.
So you want to go into it?
Well, yeah, it's very Australian that most of the cast was Australian and that their voices were dubbed because they couldn't do the Irish accent.
Was this movie supposed to take place in Ireland?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, I love the setting of this movie. It's so beautiful. I don't know if I don't know if I just noticed what the setting or like the actual location was supposed to be. I don't know if they ever really said it, but
I don't
if it,
think so, but they might say it in the fair,
okay.
maybe.
But I know this movie was filmed in Australia. I think it was
Yes.
filmed in like the Sydney area, and the farm, man, what a gorgeous looking farm that was.
God, yes.
To have all that land, like I don't know if about
I
you, but I mean,
know.
well, I know you're kind of in the same boat. The older you get, the more you appreciate just having some land, being away from people.
Yeah, having your own land,
A
piecing
barn,
it.
yeah,
I don't have to
I mean,
just
a whole
work the
just
land.
acres of stuff like yeah. But back to the voice acting. So I thought the narrator was Michael Gambon. It turned as it was. It wasn't. The voice of the cat.
Me for scratching you, dear. I got a bit carried away. It's a cat thing.
Okay, so another Harry Potter connection. I was like, man, that sounds like Moaning
Marnie Myrtle? Yeah, I know. It did sound like her.
Don't ask me. Here I am, minding my own business, and someone thinks it's funny to throw a book at me.
And I was convinced. I was like, that's her. And I looked it up, and it wasn't. And I was like, oh, damn. Okay.
I really thought it was her.
Yeah,
It
I was like,
sounds just like her.
I know. I was thinking like, man, this movie's got a big Harry Potter connection, but then it turns out guess it doesn't. But there was one voice that I was like, man, who is that? And then when I looked it up later, I was like, wow, that person. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Rex?
Yes.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving. Yeah.
As Rex.
Man, what a distinct voice. But when I was listening to it, I was like, who is that? And maybe because of the year this movie came out, because I don't really knew Hugo Weaving until like 1999, The Matrix, and later on. So when I was thinking this movie, I was like, man, who is that? And I looked it up. I was like,
Same
wow,
here.
Hugo Weaving. Okay, man, what a commanding voice he has.
We saw it last night, and Julie was like, I hear that voice. Who is that? So she looked it up, and she's like, you never guess who it is. I'm like, who? Hugo Weaving. Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like listening to when Rex shows up again, like, holy crap, that's him.
Which makes total sense because he's an Australian actor, so that would make sense.
But it was still like, damn, I did not expect him to be the voice of Rex.
No. And I think for the most part, the rest of the voice cast is not really recognizable names, or they just do a lot in the voice community. The main person that did the voice of Babe, she's in like Rugrats and like some kid shows, and did a lot of like voice acting back in the day. And then we have the farmer James Cromwell, who actually was nominated for an Oscar for this movie. And I guess this is kind of maybe what I first remember him from, because he's gone on to do so many things like LA Confidential, Spider-Man 3, Green Mile. He's still a working actor to this day. I think this is like one of his first things, and he does such a great balance of being the farmer that the animals could be a little like scared to be around, to being a very lovable
he was the boss. You can see his character, all sorts of emotions too. Like, even though he's very stern look to him, like, come on, pig, or like, go, pig.
But then you see his gentle moments too, which is nice. He's sitting by the tree eating his sandwich. He throws some to Babe, and
or like when he's taking care of Babe after the scratch on the nose. By the way, that cat is a bitch.
Well, they're cats. Cats are.
I know, but the cat's revenge to just give him the horror story to Babe, and like, they eat the duck. What do you think they do to pigs?
Oh, poor Babe. And that's actually when Babe realizes his purpose in life, basically to be fodder for us. And
Christmas ham.
Oh, that little piggy. So adorable. I have a couple more questions I'll ask you and see kind of what your answers would be. What character were you the most able to identify with, and why? Or in what way? I'll give you my answer, but you have to give a different answer then. I said Babe. I said the naive insert of someone trying to understand and find their place in this world, which I can relate to.
A character that I relate to
I think you were the duck
Excuse me?
because you're annoying.
Wow. I mean, you would say he was the same way. He was trying to find his way to survive.
That's
That's
true.
why he kept imitating the crow, the roosters.
Chris, you're the farmer because of the dancing scene that he does, and you dance that way.
I'm the farmer.
Is that your answer?
No. I don't know which character I kind of relate to. Really, I really don't know. I don't know which character I would relate to.
Well, then you're the duck. Oh well. Moving on.
Yeah, sure.
Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? I said I thought the ending was a great send off with a memorable final line. Nothing different. But
I
I'm going to
wouldn't
ask
change
you,
it.
what would you do differently? Would you go dark and like it's the final line? That'll do, pig. That'll do. Cut to 6 months later, and then there's like a
Christmas ham.
yeah.
That would have been
Cue the Kirby or that would have been dark. Kids would just be bawling their eyes out in theaters.
That's traumatizing for sure.
There would
I don't think I would want to change anything. It was
it is a
perfect.
great ending.
It is an ending because it's all the audience is in awe. Yes, the humiliation of everyone laughing at him and Babe, especially right before the sheep code, and you really do feel sorry for them.
For the sheep?
No, for Babe and the
Babe
farmer when they're being like laughed at.
Even his wife's watching on TV and she's
that was funny. Right after that, when he actually starts to herd the sheep, and everyone in awe, total silence.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the best scene ever. Not a sound, just the bells, the moving around, corrals, and the final click.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it was really well done. And then the movie just kind of ends like a little right after that. And he says there's a great shot where it's like a wide shot and you see like the sun kind of coming through the clouds and it's on them. And that's a great shot. Then he just looks down and he says his line.
Poor Rex. When he got jealous of Babe, he had to get sedated and a muzzle.
But he gets redeemed. He redeems himself.
He does. He does redeem himself. He does.
Yeah.
Even when admitting his hard of hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That
redeems
was a big
himself.
moment for him.
Who would have thought, man, you could have cared so much about animals in this kind of way, like the human, a pig, yeah. I think that's the idea, though, right? That's the whole idea is, we take these creatures sometimes for granted, and they have things going on, too. All right, final question, Chris.
All right.
If you were to make a movie starring animals, what animals would you choose, and why? Come up with a movie starring animals. I feel like
it was so overdone with cats and dogs that I think I would literally go with horses.
Horses, okay. So Chris is making a movie starring horses.
Yeah, like those wild stallions, and they're living their lives, and then they end up getting herded by farmers, and then they're forced to be domesticated and go into show horses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, show horses, but they secretly want to be free.
So are these talking horses then? They have personalities? Okay.
Yeah, and you have all different personalities, like the one that's that follows what the boss says, like this is their life, she accepts it. And then you have like a Rex kind of character. It's like he accepts it, but he still earns for that freedom, being wind in their hair, going off to the forest.
All right, I can see you've thought about this before tonight.
Actually, I'm thinking about this right now, spur of the moment, and then I'm liking it. So, and then you have this, goofball horse that always trips around, always messes up on the show training, and he's just a goofball like Ferdinand.
And what's this movie called, Chris? Is it Wild Stallions? Animated or live action?
Live action.
Okay, that's going to be a tricky one to shoot.
Yeah, got any horses?
My family does.
Really?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
The whole stable, huh?
Literally, yeah.
Nice.
My uncle owns it now, but my grandparents used to own a ranch with horses and all that stuff.
Everything.
So,
nice.
Yeah. Although I've not been horseback riding in a long, long time.
Last time I rode a horse, I was like 6.
Chris, don't talk about your ex-girlfriend that way.
Wow.
Anyways, so wrapping this up, that's the questions I have. I thought that'd be a little fun thing, little activity to do for this movie. It does have a part for a rating out of 5 stars. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think that's pretty solid. 4 out of 5. Besides that, there's not much else.
No, I'll give it 4.5. Yeah.
Okay, you got to one up me that way.
Yeah.
Fine, be that way. Anyways, Babe. Hey, Babe.
Yeah.
Did you show your kids, or did you show Rosie, or is it just you and Julie watching
They've
it?
seen Babe.
Okay.
Like not too long ago we watched it, but I was like not really paying attention to it.
Okay.
Because it was on one of the streamings for free at the time.
Okay. I was just about to say I had to get it from the library, but unfortunately, first off, people, the library is a great resource to find movies. Utilize it. That's what you pay taxes for.
Remember.
It's what you pay taxes for. However, be warned, if you get a DVD that has probably been around for a while, it may not work, as in the case for me. So I will admit, I gave you shit last week for, what was it, Richie Rich? I did have to find unfortunately, I did have to find a stream because I did not feel like paying $4 for it.
Yeah, I didn't want to pay it either. And the damn link that you gave me, holy crap, so many freaking ads.
It's the only one I could find. We deny everything. But yes, find your local library, and I'm sure they have it. And hopefully it works. If not, you might have to clean the disc. And if at that point, don't be us, actually pay for it. I know we're hypocrites, but what can you do? Anyways,
that's it.
Chris, final thoughts. What do you got?
It's a great family movie. I mean, it goes on with other movies that about animals. Really, you know, you have talking animals like cats and dogs, or Charlotte's Web, another one with a pig. It's a good movie. It's very heartfelt.
You'll cry as an adult. You'll cry as a kid. Admit it.
Yeah, you see his little journey going from beginning to his future as a sheep pig
to his other future being in the city for somehow, and maybe we'll do Babe Pig in the City one of these days.
We'll see.
Anyways, that's this week's episode, everybody. I want to thank everyone for watching, for hanging out with us once again. I'd even tell you, but I'm wearing this stupid skull cap because my hair is a mess right now, so I didn't want to be self-conscious on screen. But I'm gonna take it off now anyway, so it's probably
put it back on.
That's all I got. Chris, take it from here.
Oh, Brent, moving on.
All right, that'll do, Chris. That'll do.